Hello, Husker fans. Welcome to episode 260 of the Husker Football Fan Podcast. I'm Mike Harvat.
And I'm Justin Swanson.
In today's episode, we react to Nebraska's gut punch loss in Ireland and look forward to the team taking out all of their pent-up aggression on North Dakota. May the football gods have mercy on their souls.
You can find us on the web at huskerpod.com or by searching Husker Football Fan Podcast on Facebook. You can also connect with us on Twitter by following at HuskerPod or email us at huskerpod@gmail.com. This episode is brought to you by Central Nebraska Buffalo. Check out their website for their latest deals. That's cnbuffalo.com.
Also brought to you by Monty Rohde with Pinnacle Realty in Lincoln. Looking to buy or sell a home in Lincoln or know somebody who is? Reach out to Monty at 402-770-3356.
Oh, putting a little unique spin on that.
Omaha has a commercial on talk radio right now that is the most obnoxious thing I've ever heard in the world. I won't name the company, but the commercial ends with the guy giving the phone number, and the last four digits are 17. I guarantee there are people who know what I'm talking about. But anyway.
Okay.
So we were sold a bill of goods.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know that I listened to much of what anybody was selling other than just... There's always that natural, like, you get excited at the last minute. I feel a little bit differently from after the first game last year. That's really how I felt last year after the Illinois game. I was angry because I felt deceived. I don't feel deceived this time. I just feel like it's still a Scott Frost coach team. You know, he's got some weaknesses for sure. And there's a few things that maybe we assumed would be one way or the other, and they're not, for good or for worse. So, I mean, I thought the D-line was going to be way better, but I guess having a Big 12 D-line doesn't stop a Big 10 running attack. Although I think O'Shawn Mathis was second in the team with tackles, but that was a big surprise that they ran all over us, that our linebackers were getting smoked, that our DBs were having to come down and make tackles like crazy in the second half. That was a big surprise. The offensive line struggling. I don't think anybody's shocked by that, although it's really disappointing to see. And then I think we were all delighted in the first half by Casey Thompson and his accuracy. And then he came back down to earth there in the second half.
Well, even in the second half, I felt like he was throwing balls that people should have been catching. I'm not disappointed with his performance as much as I think people are complaining about for the second half. They're saying like, oh man, things really deflated for him in the second half. Sure, but there were a lot of dudes getting hit right in the hands, and the ball ended up on the ground or in somebody else's hands. It's stupid.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good Northwestern defense, and they do tend to swing high or swing low. You know, they kind of have to rebuild a lot, but then they can build back up. And I think a lot of the beat writers that I read didn't think they were going to be that good. So either they are surprising all of us, or it's just a really bad sign for our team. Hopefully it's the form.
Right. So, interestingly, last year, heading into the season, I very much felt like we better win the first game or we're in huge trouble. Now, that could be the case this year, and it really stinks that Northwestern is in our division, in our conference, and that's the first game. Like, that's the only thing that's really like ooh, that stinks. But, again, we have been saying all offseason, this year's schedule is a relatively favorable schedule for a team that's in the position we're in. for a team that's already on the ropes, thank goodness we're not playing Ohio State, you know. I know there's Michigan on the schedule, but I don't know. I look at the next several weeks could finally be like an opportunity for this team to respond in a way that didn't happen last year. They could say, okay, let's settle down. We got a couple of games ahead of us that, barring any just completely blowing up in our face, I think everybody expects Nebraska to win the next 2 games, right? So that gives them that gives them another half month essentially to prepare for quote unquote real football again, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just feel like there's still a chance to save this season, and I feel like a lot of people are just like, well, it's all over already, and I'm just like, they can still right this ship.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do think that we know enough about, to kind of reiterate a point I made just a moment ago, like we know enough about Scott to know that he's got some flaws as a head coach. Mm-hmm. But the whole reason that this season is interesting is because he's brought in people on offense especially to mitigate some of those weaknesses.
Sure.
And we never thought that the offense was going to have it all figured out at the beginning. So that is one. That's why last year at the Illinois game, where you had a fourth-year starting quarterback, you had a ton of returners all over the place, and they'd said they were going to fix all these things. Mm-hmm. That was why I was so angry last year. And so at this point, and maybe it's just because it's more than 24 hours since the game, I'm not angry right now. I'm just disappointed. And it's a long season, but the one thing I was thinking is that Frost really does struggle in the crunch time, and basically this season is one long crunch time.
Yeah.
So like that doesn't bode well for him. But I don't think there's any chance that he gets fired midway through the season. This is all new offensive staff, all new special teams. For the most part, the special teams were a lot better. Lost a lot of leadership. I hadn't thought about it much, but we broke in new defensive backs, brand new safeties they hadn't started before. So,
yeah, I think that was like, I don't know, maybe this is something that's been discussed by other folks, but as somebody who kind of took a step back this summer and wasn't paying as much attention as some, I think the casual fan, which I think I do a good job of representing, just the dude who's like, hey, Husker football's back. Let's do this. I think a lot of folks just kind of assumed, oh, Chinander knows what he's doing. So even with the turnover and all the people, playing for the first time on Saturday, he's got to figure it out. Everything's going to be fine,
Well, he's been there for 5 years, and he's had his assistant coaches pretty much the whole time. And you swap out in and out Tuioti. I think at the end of last season, when we lost a couple of D linemen, there was some real concern about that position. But then, like I think I said last week, I felt like it went from a question mark to a big plus. And man, they got pushed around. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's mental and not physical. Maybe they just weren't prepared, the new guys, for what a Big Ten running attack was gonna throw at them. But yeah, Northwestern, a team that we demolished last year, really moved the ball kind of at will. And I know everybody seems to want to point solely to the crazy onside kick, but
there was still a lot of football to play after that.
I mean, a play in the third quarter doesn't lose the game for you. It also probably wouldn't have won the game for you, like Frost seemed to think. I mean, he has always struggled with putting foot on throat kind of thing. Yeah. And so he was trying, he was pressing, just like Casey Thompson was kind of pressing on those throws in the fourth quarter and maybe throwing it a little too hard or a little high. Frost was pressing, and you talked about taking a break. That was one thing when we got done with the game yesterday. I was like, man, I'm glad we did not podcast through the summer. I don't feel. I mean, obviously
there would have been all this investment, all this build up, and look what we got.
Obviously, still a huge fan. Gonna be a fan no matter what.
Yeah.
But
I'll be at the game on Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Do you know where?
First time since 2018 going to a game. So
I'll hope to bump into you.
Yeah.
I think that apathy is a real concern right now, and that's where Trev's attention is probably going to be. I mean, I feel it. I feel it in myself. I feel apathy. On one hand, I was happy that I didn't totally ruin my day, and I was able to have a good afternoon with my family and not just have my life wrecked. But at the same time, that's probably a bad sign.
Yeah. I even had the exact same thing happen to me last night. I went for a bike ride, which was really helpful to just kind of process. I listened to Big Red Overreaction on my phone while I rode around the lake. But when I was done, I felt refreshed. I felt ready to move on. And, my attitude was like, okay, what am I going to do tonight? And I noticed, I was like, wait, I've moved on really quickly. I'm fine. Oh, that's not good. So, yeah, exact same thing. What concerns me is it's weird because, like, you think the rest of I feel like college football fans, when Nebraska starts winning again, I think that we need to be as arrogant and as loud and as annoying as we possibly can be when we start beating teams again, because I feel like the rest of the world, like, Nebraska's been down for a while, and they just keep kicking us and kicking us.
They just keep coming.
And, like, they're not sick of it yet. It's like, what do we have to do for you guys to, like, lay off and stop with the snide commentary? I mean, you see the tweets from Pat Forty yesterday.
I saw that you saw
my
it.
head out, pull my hair out. It was...
Part of the problem is that it's like the first game of the season, and there was really no other games, so we had the world's full attention, so... got embarrassed in front of everybody.
Right. And the funny thing about that is because people who didn't have any skin in the game, they were like, college football's back, this game's super entertaining. I'm just like, this game is trash, actually.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at what's happening on the field right now, like, this is sloppy, gross, awful, disgusting football.
But it was high, we moved, both sides moved the ball.
Yeah, there were
some
lead
great
changes.
Frozen catches.
Yeah, yep.
There's one, to your point, every rando is commenting about Nebraska football, and there's this one Twitter handle I started following several months ago on my personal account where it's called Art But Make It Sports, and they basically line up some bizarre pose in a game, and then there's like a work of classical art, like a Caravaggio or a Titian or something, and they're in the exact same pose. And Mandy and I have been enjoying that for the last couple months. Well, I'm just scrolling through Twitter, and then they had one of the Nebraska win probability line, and it was matched up with some 1944 era modern art that had a line that went even then crashes.
Right.
And I was like, oh no, everybody's piling on.
Oh. But honestly, the thing that's most concerning for me, I sent you a video this afternoon. It was sent out by the Barstool Huskers.
Oh, I thought it was a screenshot. I didn't actually watch it.
It was all these young kids wearing Nebraska gear. I can only assume that they're UNL students. And I think it was like playing taps in the background or something. And they were all saluting, and they were having a funeral, quote unquote, for Scott Frost's coaching career. And the kids are all giggling. It's funny to them. And part of me had the whole, like, old man yells at cloud attitude watching it, like, you guys don't understand what we've had to endure. But that's the thing. All the kids who are going to school at UNL right now, who are not playing football for the school, they have, since they were children, seen Nebraska be a big joke. Yeah. And that has me concerned. Because like we've gone from we've moved from being in a place of we feel sorry for Nebraska, because like the people who are level-headed see it and just be like, man, how much more can that fan base take, right? Yeah. But I think it's moved to the point of absurdity where people are just, it's just funny now. It's just a joke. We have become a joke to the college football world. Yeah. Whew.
It's not a fun place to be. I think Scott's got a year here, and the schedule is very manageable in the front half, and I still say that, and it gets a lot harder in the back half, so you've got some time to figure some things out. And he's got, I'm curious what Whipple's role is now. Obviously he calls the plays, they're making the offense together. Frost said, I didn't listen to the post-game press conferences, I don't want to listen to that, but I did see where Frost said that their offensive staff needs to be more creative and realize that you have to be more creative to win in the Big Ten. I don't know if that's a shot at Whipple, or it kind of feels like it, or if that's him talking to himself. Probably not. It felt like him saying, like, I knew this, now you need to know it too. And so that just doesn't sound healthy. Even like Amir Abdullah was calling out the onside kick. I mean, just everybody's piling on. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know what happens next, but these guys have been practicing all year, and I don't think they give up now, and got a couple games to get things right. And I did see one national commentator describe the North Dakota game as a trap game for Nebraska because you're on the road.
Come on.
This is before the game. You're on the road flying, they just got back, or they got back at like 2 a.m. or something, and
jet lag and all that. Yeah.
Super jet lagged. So, but I think maybe he was thinking it was North Dakota State, who's won national championships at the FCS level.
Right. Yeah, I took a look at ESPN's page for the game, and their chances of victory, North Dakota. I don't remember what it was last week, but we could say, their chances have doubled, which puts them at a 2.1% chance of winning. So, like, even still, after yesterday's embarrassment, things are looking very, very likely that Nebraska is going to be just fine this weekend. So, yeah, I just... I don't have any specific thoughts about offense, defense. I mean, special teams sticks out to me as, okay, yeah, that was an improvement. Sure. Except for the onside kick. If you erase that, the performance of special teams throughout the rest of the game was fine. Had some good punts.
Fine is a good word for it. Let me see if I can pull up stats that I had identified earlier. Oh, yeah, Buschini, 6 punts for an average of 47.2. 50 yards was the longest, and he had 4 inside the 20. So that's huge. That's huge. Although they did out, he had a lower yard average. Luke Akers had a 40.8 yard average, but his 4 that were inside the 20 were inside like the 5. So
right.
That they both punted well, but we got a little bit the worst of that. We missed that one field goal at halftime, the 56-yarder, as time expired. 2 touchbacks. I don't think we had any punt return yards. Is that right?
I don't think so. Nothing to speak of. Nothing comes to mind.
Yeah, and they fair caught the first kickoff that maybe he could have taken for a few yards, and then the second or third one he took a couple that he didn't get out to the 25. One he did get out to 26. So, yeah, I would say we've maybe said on and off, whether it was on the show here or one-on-one, that if we could even go from terrible to average, that would be a huge improvement. So I think we were at least average.
Yes. Yep.
I don't think there's any...
I don't expect us to be in the 100s this year.
Right, yeah. I don't think that there's new SP Plus numbers today since so few teams played. Mm-hmm. But when that comes out next week, we could be solidly in the 60s, maybe.
Hey, to be twice as good as you were last year.
That's huge, yeah.
Oh, man. Just looking at these charts, 3 turnovers. We lost the time of possession big time. They had it for 34 minutes. It's just disappointing.
Losing Vokalek at one point, that was a huge blow.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty clutch, and he's 6'7", Mm-hmm. He's like 3 inches taller than the next guy. So that tip pass at the end that was intercepted, I mean, that... if he's in, that's probably caught. He rolled his ankle. I think he said he'll be okay. So he's a really important piece. It's crazy to see all the different wide receivers catching balls that weren't even on the team last year. I think we all agree Isaiah Garcia Castaneda did not fumble that ball. That was a huge call.
Yeah.
That was a huge call.
You could clearly, what was striking to me is you see his knee go down, and then you see the guy pull away with the ball. But I think that they had to say it stands because you never see the moment that control is lost. I think that can only be the explanation, is that they didn't have a good enough camera angle to say, there it is. There's where he's down and he still has possession. They just didn't have that.
I thought it was pretty clear, but Vokalek, super efficient, 5 catches on 5 targets, Trey Palmer, 8 catches on 13 targets for a long of 16. And then Garcia Castaneda, 4 catches on 7 targets for 120 yards, 58 yard for the long and a touchdown. He was exciting. Omar Manning, didn't even get a target. Ramir Johnson didn't get a target or a carry. So kind of a forgotten dude there.
Yant only carried the ball 3 times for 5 yards.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, wow. I'm looking at the stats for the first time right now. That's a change from Martinez. Casey Thompson, 3 carries, negative 18 yards. That would not have been the case with Martinez. That was something that I considered yesterday, and we don't have to go down this road. But part of me wonders, like, with Martinez, we probably won yesterday, didn't we?
I don't know. I don't know that it's any. Maybe we do, but he would have taken a pounding because of a physical Northwestern defense, and then like the last half of the schedule, he's got his, like a bionic eyeball because he just got, he's got a peg leg because he got the snot beat out of him.
I guess I just kind of I'm thinking like pound for pound. I think he would have been the edge yesterday.
Adrian doesn't make that 58-yard pass work. Adrian doesn't do that. He probably does run it more. I mean, the one time that Smothers came in, he ran a triple option for 7 yards. I would like to see them throw him in one more time.
Sure.
A couple more times.
That was weird. I assumed Thompson was hurt or something when they put him in. But then that was right after he threw the interception, too, so part of me was like, was that like a punishment?
Oh, they benched him. Yeah, I thought that, too. I got on Twitter for a second, and Sam McEwen at that time said he expected that to happen, that they'd use. Hey, yeah, the defense. I'm concerned about the defense. Luke Reimer 12 tackles, O'Shawn Mathis 10, Nick Heinrich 9. So two linebackers and a defensive lineman are your top 3. It seemed like the safeties were in making tackles a lot. Garrett Nelson had a really tough matchup with maybe the best tackle in the Big Ten, one of the best. So he didn't really blow. I mean, we didn't touch the quarterback. I don't think we touched him.
Yep.
But, we got a ways to go.
Oh, let's see here. Who is it? Omar Brown was credited with a sack. So I guess Big Mac sack.
We got it?
I guess it happened. I have no clue what the play was.
Where are you seeing that?
It was his one tackle.
Huh.
And Buford and Newsome. No, those are tackles for loss. Yeah, it's just showing a single tackle from Omar Brown.
I'm looking at the stats on Huskers.com, and it has him with an assisted tackle, but not a sack.
Huh. Well, maybe ESPN's wrong.
I don't trust ESPN.
Well, this is how you're going to have to find out, folks. Go to McDonald's tomorrow, order a Big Mac, and see if you get 2.
It's the only way to know.
It's the only way to know. Actually, that's a pretty good way to check. Because legally, their lawyers know whether or not there was a sack.
Right. No, we're not giving you that food.
Right. Anyway, you ready to wash your mouth of this game? Spit out the mouthwash, and move on?
Yeah, I mean, it's onward, whether we like it or not, and I think the excitement level dips down here pretty low for these two low-level, no-name matchups, and then
I think you're going to see a lot of people this weekend at Memorial Stadium who don't usually go to Nebraska games.
Yeah, yep. You're going to see a lot of kids.
Yep.
I agree. It's definitely that one.
A lot of, so how do you know so-and-so who usually sits in this spot?
Oh, man, some people who sit next to me, who have sat next to me for years, I texted them the other day just to say, hey, excited about the season, see you soon. They're like, hey, we did not renew our tickets this year. Oh. Yeah. And then some friends of mine from out of town who come back every year for a game aren't coming back this year. So, I think
that's the kind of stuff that we got to be cautious about this year.
Yeah, I think if Frost needs to win at least 6.
Oh, yeah.
And he needs to have like a decent pelt to put on his wall. Like if he can beat Oklahoma, that could go a long way. I mean, we're sitting at 3 wins at that point, and that's his signature win right there. He doesn't have a signature win.
Not at all.
And he's what, 15-30 at this point. And what was Riley's record? I'm just trying to remember what our record is as a podcast.
Oh, gross. I don't want to think about that. You're going to do that to me?
Yeah, I'll just Google it here. Oh, it's 19-19. I can remember that.
Oh, right. Well, we're below that number.
Are you and I both trying to do mental math here?
No, I didn't pay attention to the first.
So we're 34-69 as a podcast? Woo!
Yeah.
Volleyball's kicking butt.
Oh, okay, so that's really interesting to think about. Like Frost's signature win. He needs something.
I mean, doesn't have anything.
Yeah, Oklahoma would be huge. Both, well, like I was saying, we got a chance here to kind of right the ship. That not all is lost. Like I think some people have already like thrown up their hands and said,
"Yeah, it's over the top."
Here we go again. If they can win the next 2 games, and then we come out and surprise Oklahoma, I think everything's back on the table. If we beat Oklahoma, everything's back on the table.
Yeah.
So Frost, if you're listening, our advice to you is beat Oklahoma, and that will bode well for your future at Nebraska. I have no power. I don't have Trev Albert's ear. I just, my personal opinion is that's probably a good idea, is beat Oklahoma.
If you can make it happen, then have it.
Yeah, I mean, we'd appreciate it.
Please?
Okay, so the North Dakota Fighting Hawks.
Yep.
That's cooler than bison, or bison, if you ask me. Fighting hawks? Heck yeah. I want to be a bird of prey.
I kind of think of you as one.
I'm glad that you don't think of me as a bison, even though I resemble one more so. I'm big and hairy.
I don't know how to respond to that, Mike.
So, as I said previously, ESPN's FPI puts us at a 97.9% chance of victory. This really is one of those... What do you call these types of games? Just the fluff...
Popcorn, candy.
Yeah.
Little Sisters of the Poor.
We're bringing in a high school plus team. I need to be careful. If we lose this game, somebody's going to pull out a quote and be like, check out what this Nebraska podcaster had to say.
I noticed I spent a lot less time on Twitter this game. I'm really proud of that. It was fun to get on later in the day and see some of the things you tweeted and some of the reactions people got. But I saw the the Northwestern offensive line coach said, and to think that we only puked 4 times this offseason. And then I saw someone pulled up an old tweet of Chaz in SoCal.
Oh no!
From 2018,
Chaz.
Saying catch us now, beat us now, because you won't be beating us later. And they're like, we're still beating you. And
what do you mean we're still beating you? We embarrassed you last year. Come on. I don't think Northwestern has any room to talk trash for instance, Iowa does. Iowa, if they want to talk trash, okay, you guys earned it. I have no defense if an Iowa fan wants to talk trash right now. Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, and it's that kind of thing. When it's closer to game time, it'll bug me, but at this point, it doesn't even bug me because it feels like it hurts when it's coming from the outside and you don't feel like you deserve it, and it feels a little cheap. But to your point, it's fact. We haven't beat these teams, and we got to figure ourselves out. It's our own. We got to figure out what's going on here before we can worry about beating everybody else, and we're still figuring it out. 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 20 years, however long it's been. I don't know.
You yourself have to become the person you want to be before you can find the person that you need to be for you.
You need to be the football team that you need you to be before you can be the victory team that you need football to be.
Be the football you wish to see on the field. Wayne Gretzky. Michael Scott.
Michael Scott, yeah. Mike, I don't have anything else to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about North Dakota. I mean, they haven't played a game yet.
There's a football game that's going to happen. They're going to come down here.
They're from North Dakota. Our game against them will be on BTN. Then they'll have a game on ESPN3. And then the rest of their season's on ESPN+. So that's the caliber of team that we are playing. And I promise, what I'm saying right now, this is not to make fun of them in any way, shape, or form. We're just being very transparent about the fact that we don't know anything about this team. So, go Big Red.
Yeah, go Big Red.
I hope we win. So, since the last episode, there's been an announcement. Return to Monkey Island is coming out on September 19th.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Started playing the original Monkey Island Special Edition with my kids.
It's the way to do it.
It's pretty fun. We got to insult sword fighting pretty quick.
That's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, just wanted to throw that out there because I did tweet about it after the game. I said, at least there's a new Monkey Island game coming out.
I saw Richard Branch with the Buck Around retweeted it.
I knew I liked that guy.
I know, that was my thought. Mike, let's call it good.
I think we're there.
I've got nothing to say.
Yeah.
I've been out of things to say for about 5 minutes. So.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. Go Big Red.
Go Big Red.
The Husker Football Fan Podcast is an unofficial, non-commercial podcast and is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed on this podcast belong solely to the individuals expressing them. The Husker Football Fan Podcast is not endorsed by or affiliated with the Nebraska Cornhuskers or the University of Nebraska.